Now that we've officially decided to get married, I think it's the right time for us to reveal how much we earn and how much we have in savings, don't you think? I think it's the practical thing to do if we're going to be planning a wedding together. Would you be okay with going first?
Oh, actually, the truth is, I don't know how much I've got in the bank right now.
What do you mean by that? How can you not know how much money you have? It's your money.
Well, my mom is actually the one who manages my finances for me. My salary goes directly into her account, she puts some away for savings, and then she sends me a certain amount each month, or extra if I need anything for an emergency.
Your mom is completely in charge of your finances? Are you saying that she always has been since you first started working full-time?
Yeah, I can be quite reckless with money and end up using it to buy useless things, so I ended up deciding that it was for the best for me to just let my mom take care of my finances for me. My mom is really frugal and great at saving, so it made perfect sense to trust her with it. She's also really good at making investments, so I just leave her to invest my money in whatever she thinks is best. When I get home later, I'll ask her to tell me exactly how much money I have right now.
Okay, but if you don't mind me saying, it does feel a little weird to me that your mom manages your finances for you when you're a grown man. You're 36 years old. You're not some kind of irresponsible kid. When we get married, this is going to stop though, right?
Oh, yeah, of course it will.
Okay, that's good to hear at least. Here, this is how much I have in savings.
Whoa! You already have $150,000 in savings? But you've only been in the world of work for 5 years. How can you have saved so much in such a short amount of time?
You know that salaries are higher than average in my field of work. And I'm also quite frugal with my money, so I prefer saving up and using it for something that's really worth it, instead of burning through it as soon as it hits my bank account. But when you think about it, this really isn't that much money in the grand scheme of things. We need to buy a house and pay for a wedding, so $150,000 isn't actually going to go that far.
Even so, it's amazing that you have this much in savings at such a young age. You should be the one to manage my finances once we get married.
Me? But surely it's better for us to manage our finances separately, don't you think? That's how all my married friends do things, and it always seems to work out fine.
Well, I'm not too sure about that. I've never had to manage my own money before. Surely it would be better for you to manage it for me, since you know way more about these things than I do. You can just do what my mom does, which is send me a little bit of money each month. That way, I think we'll be able to save money more effectively in the long run.
Well, I don't mind if that's what you really want to do, but I'm worried that trusting me with everything will be a little uncomfortable for you.
Oh, it's fine. I'm used to receiving my money like this. The only thing that changes for me is that you'll be the one sending me money instead of my mom.
Okay then, that's how we'll do it.
Oh, and by the way, my mom wants to see you privately to talk about something.
Your mom wants to see me privately? I wonder what she could possibly want to talk about.
Oh, don't worry, I'm sure it's nothing bad. I think she just wants to talk to you in more detail about the wedding plans, that's all.
Really? I guess I'll send her a message then and ask her when and where she'd like to meet up. Can you really believe that we're actually going to be getting married? I certainly can't. It feels like I'm living in a dream.
I know exactly how you feel. I feel the same way. But there's still quite a while left until the wedding.
Not really. If we do end up doing it next September, then there's less than 6 months left.
I suppose when you put it like that, it doesn't feel so far away after all. I just want to hurry up and get married to you already.
Me too. Our parents are super conservative, so I know that we won't be able to start living together until we get married.
Well, how about we legally register our marriage before the ceremony? We could do that anytime. It doesn't really take that long. That way we can legitimately live together without our parents getting upset about it.
But still, I think it's better to do the ceremony, the legal registration at the same time. Otherwise, it takes the magic out of the ceremony, you know?
Do you think so? Well, I just thought it wouldn't be a bad idea since we're both so keen to start living together. Next September is starting to feel like a really long way off again.
But still, anything could happen between now and then, so we shouldn't be hasty and rush into things. Most people actually end up legally registering the marriage after the ceremony these days.
Wait, so what you're saying is you think something might happen to make one of us call off the engagement between now and then?
No, that's not what I'm saying exactly. I'm just saying that if we start living with each other during the lead up to the wedding, we might end up fighting about a lot of things. It would be a shame to ruin the excitement leading up to the wedding if we start doing the thing we're most excited for before the actual ceremony.
It makes me a little bit upset to hear that, you know? It sounds like you're saying that there's still a chance that you would want to break things off with me.
There's no need to be like that. I really don't think anything bad will happen, but it's always best to consider the worst case scenario, don't you think? And even if that doesn't happen, if we want to start looking for a house now, we'll probably have to take out a loan in order to afford somewhere. I think that will just end up causing more problems for us in the future.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my friend who got married not too long ago did that, and she said she regretted it, so I think it's best to avoid putting ourselves in that situation. We should take our time looking for a house, don't you think? We also have no idea what our combined worth is, because you don't know how much money you have to your name.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is true.
How have you been, Kathy? It's been a while since I last saw you.
Oh, I've been great, thanks, Bailey. I hope you've been looking after yourself. You do look like you've lost a little weight.
Oh, can you tell? I have been watching my weight recently. I thought that I should probably start preparing to get into shape for the wedding now.
Oh, you don't need to lose any more weight, darling. You'll disappear. Don't push yourself too hard, okay? Anyway, women should carry a little extra weight around the hips. It makes childbirth much easier, you know.
Oh, well, we're actually not planning on having kids immediately.
What do you mean? Chad is already 36 years old. He can't wait forever to be a dad.
I understand that, but I'd really like to focus on my career for a couple years first. I'm still only 29 after all. I've already discussed this with Chad, and he's in agreement with me that we should wait a few years until I reach a point in my career where I'm satisfied.
Well, don't forget about me and your parents. What about us? None of us are getting any younger, and both of you are only children. You're both sides' only hope to getting grandchildren. I like to still be young enough to be a fun grandma who can take my grandchild out to the park, you know. If you keep me waiting too long, I might be decrepit and senile by the time the child can even walk. When exactly is your ideal age to become a mother, then?
I'd like to be married for 3 years before trying for a baby. Then I'll be 30, and I think that's still a good age to be getting pregnant.
What? 3 whole years? Why wait so long? Surely the whole purpose of getting married is so that you can have children quickly.
Well, these days people tend to wait quite a while after marriage before having children. It's normal, Kathy. I've heard that couples who have children right off the bat after getting married tend to have more marital problems and have a higher risk of getting divorced.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with you kids these days. Back in the day, we would all have kids as soon as we got married, and we never had any problems. I was pregnant with Chad within a year of getting married to his dad, and we stayed together without any major problems until he passed away, God rest his soul. Well, I suppose these days young people are much more self-centered than we were back then. We all saw it as our duty to bless our beloved parents with grandchildren, but all you youngsters think about are your career and money. Family is of secondary importance to you ungrateful generation, clearly. My husband's biggest regret when he died is that he couldn't live to meet his grandchildren. So I hope that you can at least have one whilst I'm still around. And anyway, the younger you are when you give birth, the less of a toll it will take on your body. Every year you wait past 30 means higher likelihood of having problems conceiving and higher risk of complications during childbirth.
I'll take everything you said into account and have a think about it.
There's nothing to think about. If you're incapable of realizing that everything I just said was right, then you're a very silly girl indeed. Anyway, I didn't call you here today to lecture you about this, but you clearly needed some sense driven into you on the topic, so I'm glad that it came up. Anyway, I came here to talk to you a little bit about the costs of the wedding. I hope you're not expecting me to pay for a house for you guys, right? I know that some people have the traditional idea that the man's family should be the ones to provide the newly wedded couple with somewhere to live, but I don't think that should necessarily be the case.
Oh, don't worry. I agree with you completely. I think that we should split the cost of buying the house equally. I wanted to talk to Chad about that the other day, actually, but when I asked him how much he had in savings, he told me that you were the one who managed his finances for him, so he doesn't actually know. He still hasn't told me how much he has, so we can't really go forward with looking for a house if we don't know what our budget is going to be.
Oh, yes, he did ask me about that the other day, actually. We thought it would be best for me to tell you directly because I was planning to meet up with you today anyway. I suppose you already know that as a civil servant, Chad's salary isn't actually that high, but he is going to get a great pension when he retires. At the moment, he has around $20,000 in savings.
$20,000, you say?
Yes. To be honest, he didn't actually manage to gather that much by himself, but I've been doing some investing here and there on his behalf, and that helped to boost his savings a little.
I thought he would have saved a little more than that because he's been working as a civil servant for quite a few years now, if I'm brutally honest.
Well, you obviously don't know anything about how the world works then. I suppose it hasn't really been that long since you left college and started working full-time, has it? There aren't many married couples who can live a life of luxury right at the start of the marriage, you know. But isn't there also something exciting about starting with nothing and having to climb up the ladder together? So I think it's a good idea to not spend too much money on the wedding and invest it in your future instead. I wrote down a rough figure for what I think is an appropriate amount to spend on the wedding, so take a look and see what you think about it.
Okay, thank you for your concern, but I think that Chad and I can figure out our wedding expenses on our own.
But I'm the one who manages Chad's finances, so it's better to just talk directly to me than going through him.
I understand that you've been the one managing his finances up until now, but we talked the other day and agreed that it's best for him to deal with his own money after we get married.
What on earth are you talking about?
Well, now that he's getting married and flying the nest, surely it's best for him to be completely financially independent from you.
Well, I don't know why him getting married means that I have to stop managing his finances. I've always done that for him. I think it's only natural for a mother to take care of her son's money for him. Do you not agree?
So you're saying that you're planning on continuing to manage his finances even after we get married?
Yes, of course, that's what I'm planning on doing.
But when I spoke to him the other day, he said that he wanted me to do it from now on.
What? Chad really said that? I really don't know why he'd go around saying something like that without so much as consulting me about it. I'm just going to pretend that I didn't hear that. And even if he did say that he wanted you to look after his money, I'm certainly not going to let that happen.
With all due respect, your son is an independent adult. Surely you can see that his money being controlled by his mother at the age of 36 is a little weird. I was really shocked when he first told me about it. I know that everyone's situation is different and we shouldn't try and force our values on others, but I've been managing my own finances since I became an adult, and so have most of the people around me.
So you're saying you think that my way of doing things is wrong? Am I right?
Oh, no, I'm not necessarily saying that I think you're wrong. I respect that's how you've done things in your household until now, but as Chad won't be living with you anymore, I really don't feel that it's right for you to still have control over his money. I know he did say that he'd like for me to manage his money once we get married, but I see much less of a problem with that since when people get married, their money and assets essentially become shared property. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you continuing to manage Chad's finances whilst we're married is going to end up causing more trouble than anything else.
Are you sure that you don't just want to be in charge of his money so you can steal it and spend it all on yourself?
Excuse me? What are you insinuating?
Well, you haven't been working for that many years, so you can't have that much money put away in savings. I don't know how much you earn a month, but the sad truth is that women tend to not get paid as much as men do, so I think you have plenty of reasons to plot to steal Chad's money and use it to fund an extravagant lifestyle for yourself.
I find it very offensive that you're implying that I would do something like that. I manage my money quite well, thank you very much, and I have more than enough to support the kind of lifestyle I want. And besides, we're only going to have a joint bank account for necessary expenses like bills and groceries. The rest of our money will be kept completely separate from the others. I never said that I wanted to manage Chad's finances for him. He's the one who asked me to do it because he said he thought he would find it too difficult to do by himself after having you do it for him all these years.
You may say that, but I know what you're really thinking on the inside. You're obviously going to steal Chad's money to buy yourself lots of clothes and bags that you don't really need. I've heard that lots of young girls just get married these days so they can leech off their husband's money and live a life of luxury without having to lift a finger. I would hate to see the same thing happen to my precious son.
I don't even buy myself luxurious things with my own money, so why on earth would I start doing it with someone else's? I don't know why I have to sit here and listen to you hurl accusations at me when I have done nothing to make you suspicious of me. I'm really upset to learn how little you trust me.
I'm the one who should be upset in this situation. Anyway, above everything else, I need you to know that I'm going to be continuing to manage Chad's finances, and that's final. If your original plan was to manage your money individually, then you shouldn't really be too bothered about it, should you? You said you're going to open a joint bank account for necessary expenses, right? I'll just send the amount I normally send to Chad's personal account to that account instead, and everything should be fine, right?
I just really don't think this is the right way to go about things. We're going to start building a new life together, so we're going to be encountering a lot of necessary expenses. Surely you don't want us to have to bother you every time we need an extra bit of money that is technically Chad's anyway.
Well, I'm not bothered by it. Banking is all done online these days anyway, so everything can be sorted out in a split second.
I just don't feel comfortable having to ask you for money all the time. We're grown adults and not teenagers asking for their allowance.
Well, I think the reason you're being so insistent about this is because you don't want me to know how much of Chad's money you'll be withdrawing, because you're worried that you'll get caught using it to fund your frivolous purchases.
Excuse me?
I'm right, aren't I? You're just embarrassed at the idea of having to reveal to me that you spend your husband's money on useless gifts for yourself. If you're as thrifty as you say you are, then you shouldn't be so bothered about the amounts that you'll be asking me to send to you. Is it a matter of pride? Does it hurt your pride that I'm going to be the one managing your husband's money? Or is it just simply that you want to use his hard-earned cash all for yourself? I'm starting to get very suspicious of you, you know.
Can you please stop letting your imagination run away with you? None of the things you're accusing me of here are the case. I just think it's normal for each person in a married couple to manage their own money, that's all. I was just a little taken back by the situation, which, to be frank, seems a little abnormal to me.
There is no normal or abnormal in this situation. What's normal according to your standards may not necessarily be normal according to someone else's. Lots of my friends and acquaintances still manage their kids' finances after they get married. Just because none of your friends are in that situation doesn't mean that it's weird. Anyway, the bottom line is that I will continue managing Chad's finances like I've always done, and you won't have to worry about anything, okay? End of discussion. Anyway, I have plans to meet a friend, so I'm going to have to leave. You should head home as well now, Bailey.
However much you insist, I still can't agree with you on this matter, Kathy. I think we're going to need to discuss this again at a later date.
What else you think there is to discuss? I really don't know. I really have to go now, so I'll talk to you some other time, okay?
Kathy, wait!
Hello?
Hey, Chad.
Hey, Bailey, I was actually just about to call you. What a coincidence.
I called you because there's something important I'd like to talk about with you, but I'll let you go first.
Well, it's about my money. I think that after a little consideration, I figured that it's probably best just to let my mom keep managing it the way that she's been this whole time.
What did you just say? That was actually what I wanted to talk to you about. Are you really okay with that?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me whether she looks after my money or if you look after my money. As long as someone does it for me, I'm happy. And if you're not doing it, it's just one less thing to worry about, right? I think that everyone wins here, don't you?
But you have to understand that when two people get married, their finances become intertwined to some extent. I just feel like if your mom is the one managing your money, it's just going to end up making things difficult for us.
Well, she said she'll send us money whenever we need it for something big, so I don't really see what the problem is. You really don't need to worry about this, okay?
How can you expect me not to be concerned about this? Don't you feel a little infantilized having to ask your mom for money every time you need something? How can you confidently say that you're an independent adult when you're still living like this at your age?
But my mom is so good at managing money, and it's made my life easier so far.
I really didn't want to say this in front of your mom, but you have more than 10 years of work experience under your belt. $20,000 really isn't that much money to have saved during that time. And your mom even told me that it's only that much because she got some money from some investments she made on your behalf. Surely it should be way more than that if she was investing in high-yield stocks.
You know that civil servants don't get paid that much, so the fact that I have savings at all is actually quite impressive, you know? And the way that you're talking is making it sound like you're implying that my mom makes poor decisions when it comes to investing, and I don't take kindly to that.
I am well aware that civil servants don't have very high salaries, and I'm not saying that your mom made bad decisions with her investments or anything like that. I'm just saying that, rationally speaking, there's absolutely no need for your mom to keep on managing your finances after you're married and we start living together. It's nothing to do with the investments or anything like that. I just think that it would be better for you in the long run for her to stop this and give you a little more freedom with your life. Are you going to just keep saying that you think keeping track of your own money is too hard and it's better for your mom to do it on your behalf forever? You're going to be 40 soon. Do you really want to be this much at your mother's mercy at 40 years old? How can you become a dad and be responsible for a child if you don't even know how to be responsible for your own money? Your mom isn't getting any younger, and this is going to start taking a toll on her eventually.
Well, when she's too old to do it, then you can take over. I stand by my stance that managing money is difficult, and just thinking about it makes my head hurt. I don't care who manages it for me, as long as someone does. I just like to see a definitive amount that I can spend coming into my account each month. If you're really set on managing it instead of my mom, then you should go and persuade her to let you do it.
What? Why should I be the one to persuade her? This is an issue between you and her. If I try and stick my oar in, it might just make her start hating me.
Well, it's clearly not a problem between me and my mom because I'm perfectly fine with her managing my finances, and that's what she wants to do. You're the one with the problem, so you should be the one to bring it up with her if you're not happy with this arrangement. Don't try and make me the middleman in all of this. If you have something you want to communicate with my mom, then you should go and talk to her yourself. My mom isn't the unreasonable type, you know? If you can present a logical argument as to why you think she shouldn't be managing my finances anymore, I'm sure she'll be willing to listen to what you have to say.
I really don't like how unwilling you are to take responsibility in this situation. I've already explained my case to your mom, and she wouldn't listen to a single word I said. She even got up and left while I was still in the middle of talking. She would definitely be more open to the idea if you were the one to bring it up to her, so I called today to ask you to speak to her on my behalf. You have to understand that I'm not pushing for this because it's something I want. I'm pushing for this because I don't like the idea of your right to manage your finances being taken away when you're an adult capable of looking after yourself.
Well, I don't really care. This is how I've always lived, so I just got used to it. Anyway, you're making me feel exhausted going round and round in circles with this. You're the one who wants to solve this problem, so you should be the one to go and talk to her about it. Anyway, I need to get up early tomorrow, so I'm gonna hang up now and head to bed.
You can't just hang up on me whilst I'm still talking to you.
I'm tired now. Will you just leave me alone? I told you to go and talk to my mom yourself if this is still bothering you.
Are you really going to be like this? Oh, he hung up on me already. Like mother, like son, huh? Hi, Kathy. It's me, Bailey.
Oh, hi there. You did text me this morning saying you wanted to come around this evening. What brings you here today?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't satisfied with the way our conversation ended the other day.
Well, I really don't know what else there is to talk about. In my mind, we wrapped up that conversation already. I don't have time to listen to you today anyway. I have a friend coming over soon.
Well, in my opinion, the conversation was very much not over. I am standing my ground. I think that Chad should be the one to manage his own finances from now on, not you.
This is starting to get really annoying. I thought I made my stance on the matter perfectly clear to you yesterday. I really don't like how you keep trying to go against me here. If you already hate me this much, then I don't see a bright future for our relationship as mother and daughter-in-law.
I still think that you should actually listen to me this time, at least. I understand that me constantly bringing this up might make you upset, but however you look at it, grown adults should rightly be financially independent from their parents.
Whether you think that or not doesn't change the fact that Chad has made the active decision to entrust his money to me. I'm happy with his decision, and he's happy too, so I don't know why you're getting so irate about the whole thing. And the more you bring it up, the more I start to suspect you.
Suspect me of what?
Of wanting to control Chad's finances so you can take his money and use it for yourself, of course.
I have told you 1,000,000 times already that I would never do anything like that. I don't know what else you want me to do.
If he didn't have that much in savings, you wouldn't be acting like this, though, would you? You started to get greedy when you found out how much money he has put aside, and you'd like a piece of that for yourself. Anyway, I really don't know why I'm explaining myself to you again, when I've already considered this conversation the other day. If you're going to keep being so stubborn about this issue, I'm afraid I'm just going to have to ask you to leave.
I really don't know how you can stand there and say those things to me. As I said before, it's an accepted norm that married couples manage their finances themselves without any outside help from anyone. I really don't know what makes you think I want to steal Chad's money and use it for myself.
Well, so many young girls are like that these days, and you haven't really given me any reason to believe that you're not just like them. Also, I didn't want to have to bring this up, but I actually went to see a famous psychic about your relationship with Chad, and he told me that the woman in the relationship likes to live an extravagant lifestyle and will most likely bleed her husband dry. He said that Chad should never trust you with money. What he said confirmed all my suspicions about you. It gave me goosebumps, you know. However, Chad really likes you and is desperate to be able to get married to you, so I had no choice but to give my approval for you two to go ahead with the engagement. But that doesn't mean that you're in the clear. I just can't get what that fortune teller said out of my head. So I have absolutely zero intention of letting Chad's hard-earned money fall into the hands of the likes of you. If you want to live a life of luxury, you can go and do it on your own money.
So you're saying that all of this is because of what a psychic told you? And you really believe that? What century are we living in?
Well, obviously you youngsters wouldn't understand, but I know that psychics are forces to be reckoned with, and you shouldn't take what they say lightly. This psychic even knows the exact date and time of his own death. Someone with those kinds of powers shouldn't be ignored, you know? I really didn't want to consent to this marriage, but I'm going along with it because I know that this is what my son wants, and I just want him to be happy. You should be thankful that I'm putting up with you. Anyway, my friend will be here soon, so you better get going. Also, please don't show up at my house without giving me at least a day's notice.
I guess I'll get going for now, but this is far from over.
How did the talk go with my mom? You should have stayed and had dinner with her since you were there.
She said she had a friend coming over, so I wasn't able to stay for long. By the way, did you know that she went to see a psychic to ask about her relationship? I thought she was religious, so I had no idea she was into all that spiritual stuff as well.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah, well, she's been into that stuff for a while. I think it just helps her to get some kind of validation.
And did she tell you what the psychic said about me?
Oh yeah? He said that you most likely had a tendency to spend lavishly or something like that. But you know, that sort of stuff is nonsense. To be honest, I was a little freaked out when my mom first told me about it, but then I saw how much you had put away in savings and all my worries were set at ease. It's just a bit of fun, so it's not something that you should actually worry about.
So you're saying that it worried you before you saw how much I had in my savings account, but not afterwards? Well, thanks for your belief in me, honey. I really appreciate that. Even if you think it's silly now, your mom believes it's like gospel truth. She said this is the main reason why she won't relinquish control over your bank account.
I guess my mom is the type to believe something like that. She's old, so you'll have to excuse her gullibility. And if my mom still says that she's not going to give in on the money thing, maybe it's time to back down and just accept things the way they are. I know it's the 21st century and everything, but I still think it's best to respect our elders when they feel so strongly about something, even if we do have to make concessions to them. I'm sure my mom has her reasons for acting like this anyway. As I told you before, she's not normally the unreasonable type, so she obviously has a real strong desire to stick to her guns on this one.
I can't believe you're so willing to give in to her like this. I really don't think I'm being unreasonable with my request here. I also can't understand how anyone in their right mind would base their decisions on what a psychic said to them. Does she really intend on being in charge of your money until she drops dead? I guess we can't say it's fine for now, but what if we have a child in the future? There will be so many extra costs to have to think about then. Do you really expect me to be okay with having to keep asking your mom to send us money for this and that when it would be much easier for us to have complete control over all of our finances? I, for one, know that I for sure won't be able to put up with that.
Well, I guess my mom will decide on whether she wants to bow out or not once we have a baby. And anyway, it is my money at the end of the day. Do you really think she wouldn't give it to us if we asked her? I don't understand why this makes you so uncomfortable. She's my family.
What makes me uncomfortable is that an adult man has to ask his mom to send him his own money whenever he wants to do anything. And as for your mom, she keeps saying that I'm so desperate for control over your money because I want to steal it and use it to buy myself clothes and bags. Do you have any idea how upset I was when I heard her say that to me?
Well, to be honest, there is no way that I can be completely sure that you wouldn't do that.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the fact that you're insisting on managing my money to this extent does seem a little bit fishy. I don't blame my mom for thinking that you have ulterior motives. Even though your salary is high, you work for a small company and there is always a risk for dismissal, right? Whereas I'm a civil servant, which means I basically have job security for life. And I've also been working and earning money for way longer than you have, so maybe you're thinking that as soon as we get married, you can just quit your job and sit around at home being a housewife. How am I supposed to know that you don't have a secret desire to do that and leech off my salary for the rest of your life? If my mom carries on managing my finances, there's no way you'll be able to do anything like that, and you'll be more encouraged to just use your own money for the extravagant things that you might want to buy.
So basically, what you're saying here is that you're worried that I'm going to quit my job straight after we get married and live a life of luxury sat at home while stealing your money. And in order to prevent that from happening, you'd happily sign your rights to manage your own money away to your mom indefinitely? Do you really trust me that little? You're acting like you don't even know me right now, and it's making me quite upset.
I'm not saying that I definitely think that's going to happen, but I'm saying that it's a possibility. It happened to my friend James, you know. His wife had a really good job, and she kept going on and on about how she's a career woman and she would never quit her job even if she got married and had kids. But as soon as they actually got married, she decided to quit her job and become a full-time housewife. And it's not just James that this has happened to. A bunch of other guys I know have told me similar stories. They're all having such a hard time supporting their families on a single income, and I wouldn't want to end up struggling like them. Women just don't understand how much men struggle as the breadwinners. So you can't blame me for taking precautions just in case you had any similar ideas.
I had no idea you thought this way about women, Chad. And I had no idea that you had so little faith in me. I feel really betrayed right now. How could I have dated you for so long and not known you were this kind of person? I guess you're showing your true colors now that you feel like you've trapped me in this engagement. I guess you were just putting on a show this entire time to get me to agree to marry you, and now you've got what you wanted, you feel like you don't have to pretend anymore. I feel like I was almost lured into a sham marriage.
I feel like that's a little harsh. If you decide to quit your job after we get married, even when you said that you would never do anything like that, then that makes you the problem, not me.
I really don't think I can carry on with this conversation. Whatever I say to you, nothing is going to get through, is it? I'd like to take some time to reconsider this marriage.
Reconsider the marriage? What do you mean by that? We've started planning things already. Would you really throw it all away just over a silly argument like this? Were you always the kind of woman that throws in the towel whenever she sees something not going her way? In that case, I guess I'm the one who should be relieved to see your true colors.
You're the one who started suspecting me of wanting to get my hands on your money for absolutely no reason. If you had always thought this way, then how come you ever said that you wanted to entrust your money to me after we got married in the first place? May I remind you that I never said that I wanted to be in charge of your finances. That was entirely your idea. And if you think about it, I'm the one who loses out if we manage our finances together. You have $20,000 in savings, whereas I have $150,000. What use is there in me wanting to steal your money when I have way more than you do?
So in the end, it comes down to being petty and saying I'm useless because I couldn't save very much, huh?
Oh, that is not what I'm trying to say at all!
You're just as materialistic as all those other women who quit their jobs at the first chance that they could get. I was willing to let you off the hook because you're younger than me, but now I'm not so sure.
Do you realize you're just digging a hole for yourself right now? Each word that comes out of your mouth makes you seem less and less attractive in my eyes. I really think we need some time apart to reevaluate our entire relationship. Let's not see or speak to each other for 2 weeks, and then meet up again at this cafe and discuss how we feel after reflecting on this situation.
Is there really a need to go this far?
Yes, there is. I'll message you in 2 weeks' time.
Are you okay, son? Did something bad happen? You've been really down since yesterday evening. Tell me what's on your mind.
It's Bailey. She said that she needs some time and space to reevaluate our relationship and reconsider whether she actually wants to get married to me. I really can't believe that she would go this far. We've already started planning the whole process, and we've even booked some stuff already.
Wait, I don't quite understand. What are you saying? Did Bailey say she wanted to call off the wedding?
She didn't definitely say that she wants to call off the wedding, but she said that she needs some time to think about whether she does. I really don't like this overly emotional side of her, Mom. After we got engaged, I began to notice all sorts of things with her that don't quite sit right with me.
Did she give you a reason? She's still not hung up on the whole money management thing, is she?
Yep, she is. I try to explain things to her from our point of view, but she just won't listen to a word I have to say about the matter.
I had about as much luck as you when she came over to see me yesterday. She seems to have no intention of changing her stance on the matter under any circumstances.
I'm beginning to think that maybe that psychic you went to see isn't fake after all. The way she so stubbornly insisted on being the one to manage my money made me a little uncomfortable, to say the least.
I told you, didn't I? That psychic is never wrong. I'm sure that the only reason she's so obsessed with this is because she's set on stealing your money and using it for her personal reasons. She wants to take away financial rights so she can have some kind of hold over you. I bet she's got her sights on pocketing your pension money as well.
Yeah, I bet you're right, Mom.
Also, she never once showed an ounce of respect for me when I was talking to her, and would always try cut me off whilst I was talking in order to loudly state her opinion. It really shows a lack of manners, Her parents clearly didn't teach her how to respect her elders. I think it's right for you to reconsider this marriage as well.
But as you know, if I don't marry Bailey now, my chances of finding someone else are pretty slim. I'm already 36 and I work as a civil servant, so I'm not exactly considered a catch on the marriage market. And I don't have time to date around and take the slow route. I really think it's best to get married before I'm 40. And even though she may not be the ideal wife, I've already invested so many years of my life into dating Bailey, so it would be a shame to admit that I wasted that time and got nothing out of it in the end. And not to mention, Bailey has a significant amount of money in savings.
What do you mean you're not a catch? Any woman would be lucky to have you, and besides, civil servants have more job security than most and get a really generous pension. What's there not to like about that? As for Bailey, how much could she possibly have saved in 5 years of working full-time?
Apparently, she saved around $150,000.
What? How on earth could she possibly have saved that much?
The company that she works for is famous for paying a lot. She's also quite into investing, so she's made a considerable amount of money that way as well. A young woman as her who makes that much money is really hard to find, so maybe I should just swallow my pride and apologize to her. I guess if she really does have that much money set aside, she won't need to touch mine at all.
Well, this doesn't make any sense to me. There's no way someone of her age with that level of work experience can have that much money put away. I think that she's lying to you about that, to be honest. She wants to lure you into a false sense of security by making you believe she has more money than you, but she actually doesn't have any savings, and she wants to trap you in the marriage first before revealing her true intention was to live comfortably whilst leeching off your money.
Nah, there's no way she could be lying about that. She showed me her online banking app and everything. Whatever other flaw she might have, I really don't think that she is the sort of person who would lie about something like this.
How do you know? Maybe it was a screenshot that she had edited somehow. I can't let this go on. I need to see her bank balance for myself.
What is it that you wanted to see me about today, Kathy?
Why are you asking when you know full well why I'm here today? I'm here because you said you wanted to rethink getting married to Chad. This is not the right way to go about resolving conflicts, you know. Even if you are a little young, this is quite an immature way of handling things, don't you think?
I think it's very unfair of you to call me immature when I'm taking this matter very seriously. This disagreement is a really big deal for me, and I need some time to think about whether I can get past it.
It's not like I'm going to be withholding the money from you or using it all for myself. I told you 1,000,000 times that I'll send you the appropriate amounts of money whenever you need it. I still don't understand what the big deal is about this. You can just think of the money that stays with me as your savings. What's so bad about that? I don't know why you have to keep going round and round in circles with your vehement opposition to me managing my son's finances.
You keep completely missing the point. The problem here is that my supposed fiancé doesn't trust me not to steal his money, so he's making it so we need to ask his mom for permission whenever we need access to it. What part of that situation do you think sounds like something that someone would be willing to get involved in?
I really don't like how you keep raising your voice at me, young lady. So tell me then, how much money have you really got put aside? Show me your online banking app right here, right now. I don't believe you have as much as you told Chad you have put away in savings.
With all due respect, Kathy, I really don't have any obligation to show you my banking app. I have nothing to prove or disprove to you, and your blatant lack of trust in me is actually quite insulting.
I really don't know what gives you the confidence to keep defying me like this right to my face. Just show me your banking app, for goodness sake. It only takes 5 seconds to take out your phone and open the app. You already showed it to Chad anyway, so why can't you show it to me?
Well, if you've already talked to Chad about this, then you should already know how much money I have in my savings account. There's no reason why I need to show you just because you keep insisting.
Ha! I knew it. You won't show me because you're lying about this, aren't you?
I really don't appreciate you groundlessly accusing me of yet another thing that I have not given you any reason to suspect me of doing.
You're not even 30 yet, and you've only been working full-time for the past 5 years. There's no way you've saved as much as $150,000 in that time. You've made this up so Chad thinks that you're good at managing money and will happily trust you to look after his finances, and once you're married, you'll reveal that you actually had no money at all and you tricked him into giving you control of his. Well, aren't I right?
The crazy misunderstandings you keep having about me are spiraling out of control now. Even if I was lying about something like that, Chad would find out the truth eventually, and what would stop him from divorcing me after that? Getting someone to marry you doesn't mean that you have a hold over them forever.
Well, I'm sure you have an even bigger and more elaborate plan to deal with him when he finally catches you. Anyway, you don't really have a good reason to not show me your bank account right now, do you? If you don't show me right now, I'll take that as confirmation that my suspicions were right and you're nothing but a shameless liar who chases after men for their money.
I really don't think I have any reason to sit here and listen to you attack me like this anymore. Your behavior also makes me really not want to marry into your family and have to put up with you for the rest of my life. I'm going to head home now.
You can't just get up and leave. I haven't finished talking yet. Don't you know how to respect your elders? Did your parents not teach you how to behave properly? I don't want a mannerless daughter-in-law like you anyway. You're rude and you make up shameless lies in order to deceive my innocent son. I'm never going to give you permission to marry him. Never.
I am so glad that we can agree about something.
Is there really any limit to your insolence?
After having some time to think, I've decided that I want to break off the engagement.
What?
Your mom came to talk to me yesterday and told me all about how you two have come to the conclusion that I've been lying about how much money I've saved. If you really loved me, you wouldn't let your mom come and say such hateful things to me. I really couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Well, in my opinion, it's always better to be safe than sorry. You have to admit that we had every right to suspect you after the way that you've been acting. And my mom is a very cautious person, so she tends to worry a lot about these things, especially when it comes to me. This all could have been resolved if you would have just shown her your online banking app when she asked you. But the fact that you didn't show her makes you seem even more suspicious, you know?
I thought that the only problem we had here was that you couldn't manage your own money, so we were still getting your mom to do it, even though you're a grown man who's meant to be independent. But what actually turned out to be the root of the problem is that you're a ridiculous little mama's boy who can't do anything for himself. You don't even have your own opinions. One negative word from your mom and your entire opinion of me changed overnight. Are you not embarrassed about still being under your mom's control at your big age?
Even if you have come here to break up with me, there's no need to keep attacking me like this. And anyway, who are you to comment on the relationship I have with my mom? I told you that we've always been close because my dad passed away while I was still young, so we only had each other to rely on. When we first started dating, you said you really liked how close I was to my mom. And now you're saying that you don't like me being a mama's boy? Make up your mind. Either way, I'm really taken aback that you would just end our relationship just because of something like this.
I don't know why you think I would want to stay with you after knowing everything about you I now know.
Well, I think I have good reason to not trust you. Tell me the truth. You don't really have $150,000 put away in savings, do you? My mom was right, and you were lying about the whole thing, weren't you? I knew it. There's no way that you could have saved that much already, even if your salary is higher than average. You never buy yourself nice clothes and bags, and those are always telltale signs of when girls have money. You got a picture off of the internet and edited it, didn't you? You never actually showed me your bank account at all. You just showed me that to try and trick me into thinking that you're good with money so that I would trust you to manage my bank account, didn't you? I am such an idiot. I should have realized sooner that I was being played. Oh, well, at least my mom was able to figure it all out before it's too late.
You really are your mother's son, aren't you? You both say the exact same things. You really do just end up adopting her opinion, don't you? I really didn't want to have to prove myself to you, but when I got back home after talking to your mom, I just felt so angry at how I'd been treated unfairly for absolutely no reason. So, I decided to bring you hard evidence of how much money I have to my name. And you're right, by the way. I have been lying to you all this time.
You really have been lying to us. Wow, I guess my mom really does have a good eye for these things.
I've had all the official bank statements printed out, so here, feel free to take a look.
Wait, what is this?
The total amount in my current and savings account is listed there, along with the documents that prove my ownership of an office building in the city center. You can see perfectly clear that everything is under my name, right? If you're worried about the authenticity, by all means, go and double check with the bank.
Wait, but this says you have almost $1 million in the bank? And you own an office building? In the city center? This is crazy.
Oh, and don't forget to check the next page over. There you'll be able to see my monthly salary.
You get paid almost $25,000 a month? That's basically 10 times my salary.
You see, I really don't like to spend money lavishly, and I also don't like it when people only get close to me because they find out I have a lot of money. I like to form normal, organic relationships, so I tend not to tell people about my wealth when we first meet, in case it clouds their judgment of me. I was going to tell you the truth about my assets once we got engaged, but when I found out how little you earned in comparison to me, I was worried that you would feel burdened or even worse, inadequate next to me, so I decided to tell you I had way less than I actually did in order not to overwhelm you. I thought I might have done or said something throughout the course of our relationship that would lead you to find out, but I guess you never did. Anyway, the whole truth is that I earn 10 times more than you do, and I have almost $1 million to my name in savings. The building was actually passed down to me by my parents, but it's in my name, so I'm in charge of its management, and all of the rent goes directly to me.
I still don't understand why you pretended to only have $150,000 when I would have ended up finding out the truth eventually.
When I showed you the account with the $150,000, that was actually an account I had specifically set up just to fund the wedding. I was planning on telling you about the rest before we got married, but then this whole debacle happened. The fact that you don't have as much as me is something that never bothered me. But as I said, I thought that the disparity in our wealth may bother you or change the way you view me. I think that at the end of the day, as long as we're both doing jobs we like, it really doesn't matter who earns more than the other. So I'm sorry for keeping it from you all this time. I would have had no problem having my money become our joint assets once we got married. But then you went and made a big fuss about me possibly wanting to steal your $20,000 and use it to buy things like clothes and bags, which I have never had any interest in, by the way. The way you and your mom suspected and mistrusted me without any good reason really made me feel that you're not the person I'd like to share my money and my life with. Why would I want to touch your savings when I already have this much money of my own?
If you were this rich, you should have said something earlier. Why did you have to hide it from us and make us misunderstand you? I am sorry about how things have turned out, Bailey. I actually never suspected you, but my mom kept whispering in my ear and ended up turning me against you. I even began to believe the psychic a little because of her. Surely you understand it was only natural for me to have been influenced by her opinion when we lived together for my entire life. I also think that you should find it in your heart to forgive my mom for acting the way that she did. Everyone makes mistakes now and then, right? My mom was just looking out for me in her own way. I'll try and persuade her to change her mind about the money managing thing, okay?
Oh, so now you're having a change of heart? You were the materialistic one all along. See what I mean? You completely changed your tune after finding out how much I'm really worth. I don't need people like you in my life, so let's just break up already. The only thing we'd finalized was the pre-wedding photo shoot, so at least we don't have that much to cancel. And don't worry about that, by the way. I already called the photography studio on my way here and told them to cancel the shoot. I'm going to tell my parents today that the wedding is off, so you'd better let your mom know as well. I guess that's it then. Goodbye, Chad.
Wait, Bailey, don't leave. There's still so much I want to talk to you about. We barely fought at all over the last couple of years. Why would we break up now just because of one disagreement? Don't you think you're being a little bit hasty?
I actually think that I had good enough grounds to break things off with you as soon as I found out about the weird money arrangement you have with your mom. I kept hoping that there was some way that we could reach a resolution, but I guess I was just kidding myself. I don't want to hear from you ever again, okay?
Bailey, look, you can't do this. You've really gone and ruined things for me this time, haven't you, Mom?
Calm down and explain to me what's going on. You can't just start yelling at me as soon as you walk through the door.
Take a look at these documents, Mom. This is why you shouldn't be so quick to judge people without knowing the full story.
What's this? Who on earth has this much money? And property, too? Is that Bailey's name? Does she really own all of this?
Yeah, she has way more than what she originally told me about. I told you, didn't I? I told you that she wouldn't lie to us in order to get her hands on my money. She was really upset that you had accused her of that. She has called off the engagement now because of you.
But why didn't she tell us in the first place if she was this rich? The fact that she refused to show me her bank account made me really suspicious of her. Are you sure that these documents are not forgeries?
Are you really being suspicious of her again? She said to go ahead and check if we wanted to confirm their authenticity. I told you before, didn't I? That Bailey seemed like the type that had never had to worry about money. I always said that she probably gets paid a lot. I couldn't have guessed that she gets paid 10 times what I get, though.
What? 10 times more? How can such a young girl be earning that much money? What does she do, anyway?
Is that really important right now? I've lost my chance to marry her and spend the rest of my life without having to worry about money ever again, and it's all thanks to you, Mom. I could probably have quit my boring old job as a civil servant and used Bailey's money to start my own business or something. But now there's no chance of that because of all those awful things that you said to her.
Well, how was I supposed to know about all this? And what's this about wanting to start a business all of a sudden? You barely passed the civil service exam, so what makes you think that you have what it takes to run your own business?
I'd still like to try. I get such a low salary working as a civil servant, and I've barely been able to save anything even though I've been in the job for 10 years already. Marrying a rich woman and piggybacking off of her wealth would be the ideal way to get out of this rut. But there is no way that we're getting back together now.
Well, at least you had me to make sure you had at least some savings. If you had been managing your finances yourself, you wouldn't have so much as a penny to your name. You should be grateful to have $20,000 set aside. Anyway, I'll go and try and persuade Bailey to take you back. I'm sure she's not so heartless that she'd throw away your relationship because of something like this. You'd already started planning everything for the wedding. I'm sure she just needs some time by herself to cool down whilst she's still angry, and then she'll come to her senses. Trust me, I am a woman too.
If you insist on talking to her, you'd better make sure that you're nice to her this time. And you'd better do everything you can to make sure that she changes her mind about me. This is all of your fault, so it's only right that you should be the one to fix it.
I really don't know why you keep trying to lay all the blame on me. I'll try my best, so please don't be angry at your poor old mom anymore, okay? Hi, Bailey, it's Kathy.
What do you want? I really don't know why you're calling me when we don't have anything to do with each other anymore.
I heard everything from Chad, and I took a good look at the documents you gave him. I really don't know why you never let us know about this earlier. I clearly misunderstood you, and I'm sorry for that, but you never gave any kind of hint that you might be rich, so I had absolutely no idea. I realize now that the psychic was clearly a scammer, and I definitely won't be going back to him ever again.
Oh, so you believe those documents straight away, do you?
Well, of course I do. Having thought long and hard about it, I realized that you're really not the kind of girl who would pull a stunt like that. The whole situation was my fault. I shouldn't have been too overly cautious about my son getting snatched away by a good-for-nothing girl who wanted to use him for money. You hear lots of stories about girls like that these days, so I think it got to me a little. I definitely overreacted, and I'm very sorry about that. So why don't you just make up with Chad and start preparing for the wedding again? I also won't insist on managing Chad's money anymore. You are more than welcome to do it.
Just a couple days ago, you were refusing to back down. Are you really so shallow that finding out I have more money than I let on could make you abandon your principles? I'm actually quite shocked by your behavior.
Well, I just thought it would be better to carry on doing things the way we had always been doing them, but now I see that change is not always necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, don't lie to me. It's so obvious why you really changed your mind. And anyway, I have absolutely zero interest in managing your son's pitiful savings. I'm sure you'd much prefer that your son go and find another potential wife who would be happy to let you manage Chad's money, and who would be impressed by a man who has such a tiny amount in savings.
Oh, no! You're the one that Chad wants to be with, so I would never dream of wishing he would get married to another girl. And didn't you say that you didn't care how much money he had when you first started dating? The most important thing is your feelings toward each other. Are you really going to give up on love over this issue?
I am not giving up on love. I'm avoiding getting trapped in a marriage where I clearly would not be happy. I feel like if I marry into your family, the money that I worked so hard to earn isn't going to be my money anymore. I think that you and your son would try to steal it and use it for your own purposes.
How could you say such a thing? What have I done that could have possibly made you think that I have my eyes on your money?
Well, calling me up to apologize and take back everything you said as soon as you found out how much money I actually have, even though you had such a hard stance against me just a couple of days ago, pretty much says it all. You know, these days there are lots of guys who quit their jobs as soon as they can secure a marriage with a rich girl and just sit around at home all day leeching off her salary. I have a feeling that you would be quite happy to encourage your son to live that kind of life. I wouldn't be able to tolerate having a husband like that, so I am glad that I got out of that situation when I did. Now, please get out of my life and don't try to talk to me ever again.
I don't think that's any way to talk to an elder.
Well, in that case, you should go and find a sweet, mild-mannered girl for your son to marry instead of a rude and crass girl like me. I am hanging up now. I won't pick up if you call me again, so don't even bother trying.
You can't just hang up. I haven't finished saying everything I want to say.
Chad and his mom both tried calling me a bunch of times after that, but I never picked up. It was obvious that they were only begging for forgiveness because they were after my money, and there's no way that I was going to have anything else to do with shallow, materialistic people like them. I told my parents what happened, and they agreed that it was a relief that I found out the truth before I got further invested in planning the wedding. Of course, I was upset to have to end my relationship with someone that I once loved, so I went into a bit of a depressive episode after breaking off the engagement. I started to find it hard to trust other people as well because I was always suspicious that they would suddenly do a 180 on me like Chad did. However, eventually I did end up meeting someone I felt I could trust. He showed me that he's really kind and considerate, and now we've just started dating. My new boyfriend is also good at saving money, and in general, he manages his money very well, so Chad can't even hold a candle to him in that respect. He's also very mature and knows how to take the initiative, which gives me a lot of confidence. I can definitely see myself considering marriage with him one day.
Erin, are you there? I'm afraid that there is something we must talk about. Are you at work right now? Please answer me right now.
Hey, Kathy. Yes, I am at work today, just like I usually am these days.
You know, you have got to stop all this nonsense and finally think about quitting. I mean, you come home tired and just make everyone some of the worst food I've ever tasted. It's shameful, really. I'm sorry, but I just had to come out and say it. I want you to quit your job right now so that you can take care of me and the house full time.
Wait, what? You want me to just walk out of the office and quit right now?
Just think about it. If you spend all your time at home, then you could practice getting much better at cooking, and then we all wouldn't have to suffer when you cooked for us. I can even teach you how to cook.
Look, Kathy.
You won't even have to buy the ingredients. Or rather, I should say that I won't let you go out and buy any ingredients. The fact is that the real skill of cooking comes from what you are able to make with what is in the fridge at any given time.
Kathy, I'm sorry, but I am in the middle of a meeting right now. Can this wait?
Wait, what? You're texting me in the middle of a meeting?
Yes, it is. I have a lot of them as upper management.
What? The company lets women in the upper management? Is that supposed to be a joke or something?
I don't really get what me or anyone being a woman has to do with the job that we have. I mean, what decade do you think we're living in? You seriously need to rethink some things.
Wait a second. I get it now. I finally understand why you're so awful at cooking.
Why is that?
That's the thing. You just care way too much about your job and it's leading you to ignore your family. I think you should know that after you get married, you can just let the men do all the hard work for us fragile ladies. I mean, you're married now. Your job is just to stay home and cook and clean, not to earn money. Now hurry up and quit so that you can come home.
Okay, well, the meeting is about to start, so I guess we can talk about this later. But anyways, I've gotta go.
Wait, Erin! Come back! We're not through here! Hey, Erin. Are you there? Was my mom messaging you at work today? She was texting me as well, complaining and saying things like how you never listen to her and how you need to spend more time at home and get better at cooking and those sorts of complaints. I think she really doesn't like the fact that you're working. Honestly, my phone was just buzzing with messages for a few minutes straight.
Oh, hi there, Donnie. You must be pretty tired with all of that during your business trip.
It's not really a big deal. I just want to know what happened between you two.
Well, it's just like you said. Your mom told me that I'm a terrible cook.
So you mean that she said all of those things to your face too?
Well, you remember I tried making dinner for everyone on Christmas Eve? I think it was after then that your mom's complaints started getting much, much worse.
But that can't be right. I mean, that was probably the first time that she'd ever even had your food.
Well, she is right. I'm definitely no pro chef or anything close to that. And I guess it's possible that I don't cook things that are suited to everyone. But I just never thought that I would be made fun of so harshly for it.
Well, you know what? I seriously think that you make great food. I mean, if I'm being honest, it is just one of the many, many, many reasons why I love you so much. In fact, just the other day, I was thinking about how I wanted to go home earlier because I missed your cooking so much.
Donnie, you really don't know how much I needed to hear something like that today. Thank you so much.
Of course. And I really mean it too. I also just want you to know that I'm sorry my mom has been staying with us for so long. I really don't know why she's choosing to complain about your cooking of all things. Maybe I should try talking to her about this.
You think so? You think that might help if you do that?
It might, but knowing how stubborn my mom is, it's anyone's guess what she will say.
Oh, I see. Well, just keep me updated about whatever you choose to do. Please.
No! This is just not going to do. Honestly, how do you even make food this bad? Huh. I really thought that with Donnie out of the house that you might have taken it upon yourself to learn how to cook better. But instead, you're still just cooking up the same slop.
How can you just start a conversation like this? Are we seriously going to have to talk about my food again? Besides, with Donnie out of the house, I'm barely even cooking anymore.
And that is exactly the issue. You're not cooking, so you're not getting any better at it.
Okay, hold on here. I just want to remind you that Donnie and I are letting you live at our house for a while as a kind gesture, but I think you're overstepping some boundaries here.
I am your mother-in-law. I can do and say whatever I want, thank you very much.
And just what gives you that impression, huh? Where do you get off?
Donnie is my child and you are his wife. That means that it's your job to take care of me, your job to listen to me, and your job to do as I say. And you're supposed to do that all without complaining one bit. Do you understand now? Now then, are these your meals that you left in the freezer? I tried eating one of them and I could instantly recognize that no love was put into it.
I didn't put anything in the freezer. Like I said, I haven't really been cooking at all ever since Donnie left for his business trip.
But there were meals in the freezer. How do you explain that? What is this even supposed to be? Some kind of stew or something like that?
I never made any kind of stew, and I certainly didn't put any leftovers in the freezer.
You know, literally any food you touch just turns to slop. I mean, what kind of flavoring is this even supposed to be? Everything about this is just absolutely awful. If I keep eating your cooking, I'm probably going to end up in the hospital.
Are you even listening to me anymore? I am trying to tell you that the food is not mine.
Well, good, because I threw all of it away. So what do you think about that? There is no way that I can just leave this poison here for my little Donnie to eat when he comes home.
Actually, I'm pretty sure you cooked that food.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Except that the other day, you told me that you made too much food and that you wanted to leave the leftovers in the freezer for Donnie to have when he comes home. Remember? I had some for dinner and put the rest in there. I told Donnie that you had left some food in the freezer for him before he left.
Wait, hold on. Is that right? Is that really what happened?
It is. I haven't been cooking at home because I'm always working overtime, so I have my dinner at work. Although I guess it seems that Donnie must have just left the food there without eating it.
So then, you mean the food in the freezer really is mine?
That's right. You're the only other person who could have made it since I have been too busy to cook.
Oh, well, you know what? I think you might be right about that. Now that you mention it, I had that awful cold a few days ago and maybe it affected my memory. Maybe I cooked it all then.
Oh, really? Is that what you think happened? Well, it sounds like your memory might still be being affected. You should probably just rest today.
That's right. I should rest. I work hard every day and I deserve a good rest now and then. Erin, are you there? Did something happen? Is everything okay?
Yes, I'm here. What's wrong? What do you think happened?
Well, my mom was messaging me and she told me that you went crazy and were yelling at her something awful earlier.
Your mom said that I was yelling at her? About what?
She said something about something to do with food. I don't know what's going on. Did something happen? Is everyone okay?
I really can't think of anything that she could be talking about. But yesterday she was messaging me again. She was complaining about some food that had been left in the freezer. She heated it up and messaged me to complain about how awful she thought it was. Does any of that sound right?
Was it a stew that she heated up and ate?
Yeah, it was a stew. She said that she had some extra for you and left it in the freezer to have before you left on your trip. So I guess that it had been there since before you left.
Oh, so it was that stew. Yeah, that was just awful. I couldn't bring myself to finish it.
Wait, so you know what stew it was, and you actually tried it?
That's right. My mom calls it her secret recipe when it comes to stew. But all it is heaping spoonfuls of sugar and butter. I'm talking like a cup of sugar and a whole stick of butter here.
Why would she do that to stew? What is the matter with her? That's crazy.
Well, I knew that my mom was never really that skilled of a cook. But her stew, it tastes more like some kind of thick, gross medicine than it does a meal or anything like that.
Something tells me that your mom is the type of person who likes to cook for others but won't actually try her own meal after she serves it, right?
Ding, ding, ding. You guessed it. Breakfast was always fine because we just have toast with some butter and jam. And everyone always took care of their own lunch for the most part. But family dinners? Ooh, I remember one time when I was a kid. She thought it would be a good idea to mix in yogurt with fruit chunks into a soup she made once.
And no one has ever told her not to do that? Or that no one who cooks has ever done that?
People have tried telling her. Many times, actually. Believe me. But she doesn't listen to what she doesn't want to hear, you know?
Actually, now that you say that, that sounds exactly like your mom.
I guess I should be glad that at least with her staying with us, you've gotten to know her so well now. But actually, one of the reasons my dad divorced her was because she just wouldn't listen. Then she would always go on about how she was the victim and everyone was out to get her.
Oh, I see. Wow, so she can really get that bad then, huh?
Yeah, you really have no idea. I mean, my older sister basically cooked for the whole family from the time she was in middle school until she moved out of the house. After I moved out, I managed to take care of myself as well. But that's why I was so shocked when my mom chose your food of all things to complain about. I mean, she's only been staying with us for a little bit. She really doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm so sorry she's been putting you through so much.
Well, at least she hasn't really blown up on me or anything. Just plenty of annoying texts.
Right. I just hope that she doesn't get any worse.
Kathy, what is the meaning of this? What is going on here?
Oh, did you just get home right now? Well, what do you think?
I want to know why all the food from our fridge is gone. What happened to all the food? Are you telling me that you did this?
That's right. I took out all of the food from your fridge and drove it over to my house.
Why would you do something like that? What is the matter with you?
From this day forward, you're going to learn what it means to take care of me.
What are you even talking about?
At the end of this month, you will quit your job. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Seriously, have you lost your mind or something?
You care way too much about your job. And thanks to that, you make some of the worst food that I've ever tasted. Well, all of that ends now.
But you can't just get rid of all the food in someone's fridge. I mean, don't you think that this is taking things just a little far?
If you really must know, I think that I'm taking it easy on you. You need to learn to be a good wife. I mean, do you remember that meal you cooked for us on Christmas Eve? You told me that you cooked it all by hand. Remember?
Yes, I remember that because it's true.
Don't you lie to me, you little brat. I know for a fact that you ordered that food from a restaurant and had it delivered. There is no way that you could have made something that good.
Wait, hold on. So you liked the dinner, but you think I couldn't have cooked it because it tasted too good?
Well, of course! What other explanation could there even possibly be? I mean, honestly, don't you have any shame in ordering food and calling it your own? That really pissed me off, you know. Did you really want to try and impress me that much? And then you have to take it a step further than that, and you put something in my stew. How else could it have gotten so nasty? Honestly, not being able to cook yourself is one thing, but sabotaging someone else's food? Just where do you get off acting like that? When will Donnie finally wisen up and divorce you?
Oh, really? Is that what you think is going to happen? You really think Donnie would go along with that?
Not if you do well on your training and do exactly as I say.
Well, I guess that I am so sorry for being a crappy wife. But if that is really how you feel, then I just won't cook for you ever again. How does that sound?
Wait, what? What do you mean by that?
What do you think I mean by that? I am finished dealing with you. Donnie, are you there? I'm really sorry, but I just can't take it anymore and I'm spending the night in a hotel.
What happened? I'm on my way to the airport now.
Your mom, you won't believe this, but she took all of the food out of our fridge and moved it into the fridge at her house.
Wait, what? Why would she do that? What is the matter with her?
It's a really long story. I'll send you some of the screenshots from my talk with her. After that, it's up to you how you want to react.
Right, well, okay. I guess I'll see what all of this is about. Mom, you have got some serious explaining to do right now. Oh my. Donnie, what could all of this be about? I just got a message from Erin telling me that she is going to stay in a hotel for the night tonight. All right, yes, I know all about that. Honestly, that wife of yours. You know, I tried to teach her how to be better, but I just don't think she has it in her. Anyways, don't worry. I've cooked a big meal for you when you get back. No, I am not going to be having a single bite of whatever it is that you threw together. Excuse me, what is the matter with you? How could you say that? No, what I want to know is how can you even talk about trying to teach my wife to be better? Where do you get off? And just who do you think you are to be complaining about her cooking? What is your deal? Well, Okay, look. Do you remember the meal that she cooked for us on Christmas Eve? Of course I do, and I know that you think she didn't make it, but the fact is that was all Erin. No, you don't understand. She really ordered it from a restaurant. It was all a lie. It was not a lie, and I have proof because I was helping her in the kitchen. So then, that means that the stew in the freezer was really... That's right. The stew was all yours. Erin had nothing to do with it at all. That stew is without a doubt 100% your cooking. What are you saying? That can't be right at all. It is true. I saw that someone had left it there for me, took one sip, instantly knew it was yours, and put it right back because of how nasty it was. Honestly, you have some nerve telling Erin that she can't cook. She literally works for a food company and helps with their central planning. Wait, that's Erin's job? She works in the food industry. Mom, I want you to go back to your house and stay there. You're not welcome at our place any longer. You can't be serious. Please tell me this is some kind of joke, right? No, this was never going to be a permanent setup, but you have clearly overstayed your welcome. Please don't do this to me. Honestly, did you really think I was just going to sit back and let you treat my wife like that? But, so, you're really going to kick me out of the house? Of course I am. But that isn't fair. How could you even say something like that to your own mother? Listen, the point is that you know this arrangement was going to be temporary. I've already told you that you've overstayed your welcome and I want you out. But that can't be right. I was planning on living out my days in this house. I was supposed to die here. What are you even saying? Did you seriously think we were going to let you do that? That was never ever going to happen. I mean, it's Erin's parents who own this place anyways. Wait, really? It is? I had no idea about that. Yes, you did. We explained all of this to you when you first moved in here. We told you that the house belonged to Erin's parents and that you could move in with us on the condition that it was temporary and that you find your own place. Well, you have your own place, so now it's time for you to go. But I don't understand. I thought that you and Erin owned this house. I thought that you were making all the decisions around here. Okay, we're just talking in circles and not getting anywhere. The important thing is that you made my wife want to stay in a hotel rather than her own home. But that isn't my fault. I can't control what she chooses to do. Ugh, I seriously can't believe you right now. I want you out of the house now. Please don't be like this. I'm sure that we can talk this out, can't we? No, it isn't going to happen. I want you to pack your bags and get out by this weekend.
That weekend, Kathy packed up her bags and moved all of her things back into her new place. While she may have cleaned out our fridge of all her food, Donnie and I were just grateful that the smell of her cooking didn't seem to linger on the house. Still, we thought it best to hire professional house cleaners before Donnie's parents returned. Donnie made sure to send his mom the bill for the cleaning service. So far, she is only paying it back in small installments. Lucky for her, she can continue cooking her nasty meals all by herself in her new house. We tried visiting once, but couldn't stand to stay there more than 15 minutes because we were suffocating in the stench of her cooking. Ever since my parents came back to live with us, we haven't seen much of Donnie's mother. But honestly, I think we both prefer it this way. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.